this video. It's gonna get me cancelled. Can you quiet quit consulting? Firstly, what actually is quiet quitting? Because when I first heard the term, I thought it was just leaving without having a party. And I was like, yeah, of course anyone can leave without having a party. What's all the fuss about? Turns out it actually means something different. Quiet quitting actually means to have strict boundaries around your job and your role. So for example, absolutely no overtime, not even checking emails on your phone in the evenings, no going above and beyond with extra tasks or responsibilities, and basically just doing the bare minimum that your role requires. There's this whole movement sweeping TikTok where people are talking about how amazing it is, how it's improved their lives, how it's empowering them. But what about consulting? Can you quiet quit consulting? In a rare turn of events, I am not about to answer it depends, because for me, it doesn't depend. I'm going to give you the upfront answer to the question, can you quiet quit consulting? No. Now, if that's what you came for, then thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, watch other videos, all that good stuff. But this one is a bit controversial, so hold on to hear me justify the answer. Look, this video isn't glorifying long working hours for the sake of it, but consulting 90% of the time is a genuine meritocracy. So you don't want to quiet quit consulting because working hard at working smart will genuinely reward you. In fact, I'm going to go one step further and say that if you try to quiet quit consulting, you are actually sabotaging your career. This is a very competitive vocation, known for asking people to go above and beyond, and with that does sometimes come long hours. And I'm going to be blunt. If you're coming to consulting wanting or expecting a purely 9 to 5, then don't even bother, because you're going to hate it here. Why? Because as consultants, there are two things expected of you. 1, deliver value for the client. 2, deliver value for the firm. This second one is called side of desk or internal contribution, whatever terminology your firm uses. Let's focus on the first one, adding client value. The bottom line is clients pay a premium for consultants, and so they expect a premium service. And on top of that, we often try to exceed our clients' expectations, because doing that leads to longer lasting relationships. Doing that leads to selling more work. Doing that is what keeps us all employed in the first place. But it's not easy to meet client expectations when the bar is pretty high already. Being able to do that in a purely 9 to 5 way, that's pretty challenging. And when you need to go over and beyond as well, it doesn't really fit with the whole quiet quitting mentality. Most firms will then expect you to be doing side of desk or internal contribution work at the same time as well. When you already got challenging client expectations, to then be doing internal work as well, all in a 9 to 5, all as the bare minimum, I just don't see that it's possible. But up till now, I've made it sound pretty negative when really it isn't. So let's spin it on its head. Sure, most consultancies make it almost impossible for you to quiet quit, but you shouldn't want to in the first place. The first reason is that 99% of consultancies decouple promotion from your line manager. What I mean by that is you're not waiting for your line manager to be promoted or quit for you to move up the ladder. This means that you control the pace of your career. If you can demonstrate readiness for promotion, well then you're most likely to get it. This puts the power back in your hands and means that if you're working hard at working smart, you'll be rewarded. Yes, consulting is a competitive environment, but it's a type of competitive environment where you can really turbocharge your career. I see consulting like a career incubator. So if you want to, you can really use this to your advantage. If work-life balance isn't important to you now, but you think it will be in the near future, then play the game. Play the game smart. Think of it like a runway and a plane. The plane needs to pick up a certain amount of speed so that it can actually come off the runway and go into the air. If it doesn't pick up enough speed, it'll never leave the ground. That is like quiet quitting in my opinion. But consultancy is like the accelerator that pushes you up into the air, and then whenever you hit whatever height you want to be, you can just pop it into cruise control, and not worry about the plane falling out of the sky. Clearly, I'm not a pilot, so let's go back to the consulting talk. What I'm suggesting is use a few years in consulting to turbocharge your career to wherever you want it to be. Most people, when they want to take that step back in work-life balance, will go into industry. But what you can do is you can use your credibility and credentials to go in at a more senior level in industry. And to be honest, the pace is very different in industry than it is in consulting. So even when you go into industry, to be honest, you probably feel a bit like you're quiet quitting anyway. But at that point, you have the career history and credentials, which means you can either then use that to kick on again in the future if you want to, or you just cash it in, hop into industry, and plateau, quiet quit, whatever you want to call it, in industry, but you've still got that progression. If you like, it's a short-term pain for a long-term gain. So far in this video, I've said why quiet quitting isn't something you should want to do, but I haven't really justified why it's something you can't do. And the answer to that is very simple. It's up or out culture. Now, we'll talk a bit more about up or out culture in a future video. Firstly, it's something associated typically with big firms, so boutique firms don't tend to have it that much. And secondly, it's something that most firms are trying to get rid of because it doesn't really fit with the whole modern working culture. But these big firms, it's a bit of a hangover. In the old days, it used to be that if you didn't get promoted within the expected time frame of the firm, you'd get a little tap on the shoulder from HR and they would invite you to consider your career options. Now, it doesn't tend to happen so explicitly these days, but what you'll find is that people who don't get promoted within the expected time frame tend to get the smaller pay rises, the smaller bonuses, they might get some extra training courses, they tend not to be picked for the best role opportunities, and life just becomes that bit harder for these people. Eventually, they self-select out. I've not been in that position, but I feel like I've seen it, and it's a very uncomfortable position for that person to be in. Typically, people don't talk about it so much because firms are trying to move away from it, but the reality is the hangover is real, and you should know about it. Okay, I feel like I've shared quite a few ideas in this video, so I'm going to now neatly summarize it and wrap it up. The original question we started with was, can you quiet quit consulting? And the answer is no. And it's no for two reasons. One, up or out culture. There is still the hangover of the old days of consulting, and if you attempt to quiet quit, you will find yourself eventually, one way or another, pushed out. And that's not a great place to be. And the second reason is a much more positive one, which is that you shouldn't want to quiet quit consulting. Consulting offers you an opportunity to experience a range and depth of skills that you don't get in any other career. On top of that, the decoupled promotion system means you can set the pace of your career. You are in the driving seat of your career in a way that you aren't in my opinion, any other career. You should absolutely use this to your advantage and make the most of it because it is an amazing opportunity. I know this is a controversial topic, so feel free to leave your thoughts on quiet quitting in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe for more content like this, and we'll see you in the next one.